Shiva Shiva. Om Shanti. So in Shodasa Samskaras, Nishkramana, we did Nishkramana, then comes the Annaprashna. Bringing the Sharira into acclimatization of the present world to carry his body and the Atma for fulfilling the karmas as we have described earlier. Annaprashnam is required so that the Sthula Sharira has to be there in order to execute the karmas. And this Sthula Sharira is the one which is a combination, we'll be talking about it a little later, the combination of the Sukshma Karana Shariras is the outcome of that. So in order to keep this Sthula Sharira in order, Annam is required. Annam is that they are all, as we described sometime in the Upanishads, Annam is basically the Aushadhis, they are all medicines, medications. Like for a mind and the intellect, education is necessary in order to mold it and bring it to that required level of understanding. For Sharira to be healthy to accommodate a healthy mind and a healthy Antaratma, we require the healthy Sharira. That Sharira has to be healthy. Many places it has been told it is because of the negative mind, the Sharira is like that. Negative Sharira, the mind is because of that. Contribution is from both the sides. The psychosomatic disorders are also there. Because of physical disablement, the mind also gets spoiled, that also is there. So both contribute to each other. It is good, complementary to each other in fact. That so both have to be kept well. Everything has to be kept well. We cannot say in a vehicle, if there are 4 wheels, 3 wheels I have kept it okay, 1 wheel I did not keep. How is it? The 3 wheels have no use. So when something is provided as a unit, all the parts have to be kept on. Sukshma Karana and Sthula Sharira have to be kept according to its own requirements. Everything has its own position. So depending upon the importance of that importance has to be given and that Raksha has to be taken place. No doubt about it. But that is why earlier we have described in the previous chapters when we have described the acharam and anushtanam has to be according to that, so automatically the Sharira will become perfect. Because of the wrong practices only, the Sharira can go wrong. Sharira will not go wrong if the wrong practices are not there. There is no doubt about it, because it is the Sthula Bhava of the Sharira, it is the Sthula Bhava of the Karana Sharira. In Sthulata, this is attracted and attached to the Sthulata of the Prakriti. So, that is why, depending upon the Prakriti's Sthula Bhava, the Sthulata of the Sharira has to be maintained. That is why they said Annam has to be taken. Annaprashnam. They did not say anything else for this. The Annam is nothing but it's not necessarily dhanyam. Annam is that it's an aushadha which will protect the sthula bhava of the sharira. That's all. Which is keeping the sthula bhava of the sharira to be in shape and in form and in the right health is called that aushadhi is called annam. Annam can be everything. Even fruit is an annam, other things are all annam. Medicines are annam, everything is annam. So it's a medication. That means medicating the sthula bhava of sharira, medicating the sharira. We always told, I remember in our classes that earlier, if you take annam like aushadham, you will be perfect. Otherwise, what will happen? You will have to take aushadham as annam. The other way around. If you don't follow that, you will have to take aushadham as annam. So annam is that. Annam is to take care of the body. No, that's the basic requirement. So there are prescriptions. What annam has to be taken and who has to take what kind of annam. This has been, they have not just told just like that, take annam. No. Maharishis and tapasvis in the Shastras, they have prescribed what should be the annam. A Brahmana, how should he take? A man who is doing the Brahma Shastram and Brahma Tattvam, Brahma Jnanam, and who is under the process of working in the spiritual path, how his sharira should be in accommodating the mind of that. And what kind of activities he will have and what kind of medication, annam, he has to take. Kshatriya, because he has to be active and be fighting, be doing so many other things because of the rajasic gunas that has to be accommodated by him. In other things, it is sattva gunas that has to be accommodated by one who is a Brahmajnani. Here in the case of this one is a rajasic activities have to be taken place. So he has to take annam depending upon the activities of that rajasic. The sharira has to be provided that kind of annam in order to protect that particular karma. Similarly, Vaishya and Shudra also. So annam is that they have been prescribed what should be taken so that the sharira, depending upon its karma's requirement, it should be active. It should be healthy. Active in the sense healthy. That should be active. The inactiveness takes place or the cells of that gets damaged or this one only because of wrong practices of annam. That is why this particular status of the Ashtanga Yoga, Shodasha Samskara, the Samskara has been specifically named as Anna Prashna, not anything else. How annam has to be used for the sharira. Sharira is with Anna Prashanam. Induction or introduction of the annam into the sharira of that baby boy, which is between 6 months or later. Before that, one is not ready for that. The intestines and the digestive system is not ready for accommodating that kind of semi-solid, solid annam into the system. So depending upon the growth, they have determined that it should be after 6 months. 6 months and later can be done. But 6 months is ideal, no doubt about it. It can be slowly, one can introduce the system into that kind of activities with semi-solids and then solids and things like that. Afterwards, the medical sciences practice same thing has been told by the medical science, but these have been prescribed by the Maharishis thousands of years ago, that when Annaprashanam has to be done. How Annaprashanam has to be done and what are the things that in the initial stages of Annam has to be given. How it should be given and what should be given. What intervals it has to be given, everything has been specified in that. So Annaprashanam is that, basically we should understand that Annaprashanam is that introducing the physical body to the aushadhis, the medicines of Annam in the physical world, the Bhautika Jivan, in order to keep the body absolutely perfect in all, depending upon the requirement, depending upon the karmas that is to be executed by each individual. The annam is different from one to the other, depending upon the karmas, because the Sthula Sharira has to bear with it. So that has to be done. A warrior who is in the war field, no, he cannot be doing, what is it, Ekadashi, and he cannot be starving, he cannot be doing the vratas and things like that. He has to eat, he has to make his sharira active in order to for the right movements at the right time, and the sleep and things like that. So all those things comes under the process of the Annaprashanam. How it has to be taken care. A great care has to be taken. Like we take care of the Atma, like we take care of the karmas that is to be, we are born in order to execute our karmas. So there is lot of importance for each and every activity of the Jivatma he is doing in this world. From the time of his birth, how to protect that Antaratma in its purified form, removing the attachments that has been accumulated, assimilated by him during the previous Janmas, removing them and collecting them into, converting them into the process of no karma phalas. Whatever necessary for such an activity, he has to undertake it in through Karana Sharira as well as the Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira. Karana Sharira is separate. That has nothing to do with this. So, Sukshma Sthula Shariras have to be kept depending upon the karmas that are to be executed here. So, for that, what are the upadhis required? In Sthula Sharira, the annam has to be taken care. In Sukshma Sharira, the Vedantic studies have to be taken care, so that those which are accumulated, the karmas, we call it as papa karmas. Papa is that which should not have been done for the purpose of execution of karmas, that is called the papa karma. Those papa karmas have to be eliminated. In order to eliminate that, as I told you, now nobody comes and nothing comes in this world without having properly 100% prepared, educated and experienced and studied. Nobody comes just like a raw hand. No. Nobody has to be taught how to lead his life, actually. Nobody has to be taught. He lives, you see. This has been taught. Only thing but what happened? He has to tap the resources that where it has been stored and has been sent. That's all. This tapping of resources is called walking through spirituality. Tapping that resources, how to lead our life depending upon the karma phalas and karmas, and then getting liberation from that and keeping my antaratma as my reality is called walking on the spirituality. So you understood now. I used to tell repeatedly that even eating food and drinking a glass of water is also spirituality. Somebody said, no, bhautika and spirituality, that is materialistic and spiritualistic life living. Everything is spiritualistic. There is no materialistic. Material is used for the purpose of the spirituality. That's it. There is no material. For the purpose of material, is there a life? For the purpose of material, is there a life? Is the life provided? Then why we call it as materialistic life? Spiritualistic life. It is for the purpose of spiritualism only the materials have been used. Not for the purpose of attainment of material, nobody lives. Actually. No? Nobody lives for the material. No. You are accumulating things, that is different thing. That doesn't mean that you are meant for living there. No, for that. No. Accumulating and assimilating of the material which you do not own and you do not deserve and you do not carry with you. Then how can you call it as a materialistic life? So there is, according to the Vedanta, when you go through the analysis properly, They are only for the study purposes. This has been divided so that people initially has to be understanding a division has to be made so that confusion is not created in between these two. So there is nothing called, when you study properly and then when you gradually grow up in that studies and education of that, and ultimately you will prove, you yourself, when you start growing step by step, you will prove that there is nothing called materialism. One himself will prove what is materialism. Spiritualism is there. Because that's the truth, that's the reality. Annam is also taken for the purpose of that spirituality, in order to protect that. So, like we have temples in order to have the puja, like we have puja sthal in order to do the puja, they are all materialistic way of expression of the spiritualism. Materialistic way of expression of spiritualism is meant for spirituality. We don't have to confuse unnecessarily with the words here and there. No. It is meant for spirituality. But that material was required. That material, accumulation of material, assimilation of material was necessary, that for the puja sthal there was a deity, and there is a deity, there is a photograph, everything is required only for those who is walking on that path and have understood that in the right sense. Annam is that, Anna Prashnam, and that's why it is known as Anna Prashana. So Annam is necessary for every Sharira, every Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. For Sukshma Bhava, no, Annam is not required, no? Whether you eat or not. It doesn't make any difference for a man to think. The power of thinking and things like that. So Annam Prashnam. So introducing the Sthula Sharira to the Aushadhis in order to how it has to be protected. That's all. This is how it is done. That is why feeding of, that's called feeding, the first, even though the feeding had been there before also, before 6 months also, they didn't call it as a feeding, but here it is called as the first feeding ceremony, they said. Feeding in the sense, feeding the Annam for the purpose of the protection of the Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. I won't even call it as Sthula Sharira, I would call it as Sthula Bhava of Sharira. According to me, it's a Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. Why did I say that Sthula Bhava of the Sharira is that? Because when a saint or a great Acharya or a great sannyasi or a guru, when he grows with the same Sharira, he is not giving that importance to the Sharira. He gives importance to the Antaratma and development of the Atma, and Sharira he is using only for the purpose of around the external activities, but he doesn't give that Sharira. So what happened? He, even though he has a Sharira, for him it is the Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. Whenever he comes out of the Sukshma Bhava and being in the Sthula Bhava, contact in the world, then only he realizes that he has a body. That's why I said it is Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. When you are sleeping, you are not aware of the Sharira. When you wake up, then only you are aware of the Sharira. So during the sleep, is the Sharira there or not? As far as you are concerned, Sthula Sharira is not there. Understand? If Sharira is there with you, you would be conscious always. Similarly, when the Acharya is in the tapasya and he is in the spiritual path, most of the time he is walking, also meditation. While walking also he meditates. So only thing, whenever it is necessary, sometime in the day, the Sharira is necessary, he is aware of the Sharira. That's why I said, Sthula Bhava of the Sharira. It's a Bhava of the Sharira. When he has got the Bhava, then only he is aware of it. But we are aware of it, then we have the Bhava. There's a difference. There's the difference between that. When he thinks that Sharira is there, then only Sharira is there. But for us, when Sharira is there, then only Bhava is there. That should be changed because depending upon the priorities. That is why the Annam Prashna, Sula Bhava Sharira. So importance of Annam is that. That's why Annam has been given great importance. Before we eat, we do certain prayers. Let it be any religion or any part of the world, it used to be there even. Let it be in Christianity, let it be in Islam, let it be in anywhere. Everybody before eating, they do a prayer to the Annam. You see why? Why is it necessary? It's not thanksgiving, as somebody said that, oh, it is thanksgiving to the God. It's not that. We are praying to the Annam because this is the Annam which is keeping my Sthula Sharira intact in order to execute my karmas. So much of importance has been given to the Annam that you are taking. You do pray to the Annam that this is the one. So, hey Ishwar, you are giving me, please give me that Annam which is befitting to me and which is necessary for me, which can be used only by me for the purpose of execution of my own karmas in the right manner. That bhava, that prayer. This prayer is there all over the world. We pray, everybody. But nowadays many are not doing it. That's a different thing. But the introduction system was always there in every practice. It was there. I won't call it as religion. Every practice it was there to pray to the Annam. Even we say that, oh, Annam, we should not touch with the feet. So much of importance. Even what will happen by touching the feet? Nothing will happen. To be honest, nothing will happen. But what happened? We give so much, that means, we give so much of importance to that. No, you're not supposed to touch with that. You are supposed to only touch with the hand, not with anything else. This Annam is meant for doing that. So much of minute, nobody must have thought all these details. Why so much of imposition has been done? No. Arey Annam hai, uske aisa mat karo, isse mat karo. No, there are thousands of rules and regulations. What will happen if I do like this? No, nothing happens. Physically, nothing happens. But why? Rejection, kind of rejection is there. So you should not do the rejection to the Annam that has been provided to you, which is very important for your Sthula Sharira. So in order to signify the importance of it, we said, Pair se nahi lagao, hath aisa mat karo, usse aisa mat. Don't push it like that, rude way of doing it. Don't serve it rude way, things, so many are there. They are all based on the giving importance to the Annam. So much of importance, they have shown us how important it is Annam. We have to be conscious about it. In order to make one conscious about the importance, otherwise the rituals, these things have no meaning actually. Doesn't matter, you can walk on the paddy, what will happen? Nothing will happen. It's okay. Everybody walks on that before being done. But after making it as an Annam, that means edible. Before that, when it was a raw material, when it was there, people used to walk on that, atta ka bag rakha. So many laborers were walking on top of that stock which is there in the storehouse. So many people throw it out, throw it in the trucks, and they walk on that, climb on that. They put that bags, even in order to climb on that and load the truck. You see that also. Everything is done. In the raw form, it's okay. After it is prepared for the purpose of protection of the Sthula Bhava of the Sharira, then it becomes Annam. You got it? Then you are not supposed to do all that. No, I had been walking on this paddy fields and the rice field. With this one, why not I walk on the cooked rice? Why not I walk on that? See the difference? That means that Annam, after it has been made a medicine, the raw rice which is there is no more a medicine. You cannot eat it, you cannot digest it, or you have problems with that. So what happened, even though that grain is there, that grain has been cooked to the particular temperature, particular way of it in order to digest, system can be digested. When after making that became the medicine for you, Aushadhi for you, that is called Annam. Anna Prashna. What the importance of Annam? What is Annam? Annam is not that what is grown in the fields. Okay. It is converted into an that which can be used as it is converted into a medicine, with the right things, cooking and proposition and all that. That only has to be consumed, because that only can be converted into energy, that only can be digested, that only can be converted into energy, and that only can protect your sthula sharira, is called annam. That's annam. That's clear, annam, what is that? Yes, so everything is aushadhi, every annam is aushadha. Every annam, according to its own matra, its own proportion, it has to be consumed. Neither excess nor less. No more nor less. When it is properly designed according to that, the Maharishis, Tapasvis, Jnanis, earlier days, great people, everybody has followed those principles. What a Raja should eat, what a Praja should eat, what a Brahmana, a Pujari should eat, what a laborer should eat, what a Vyapari has to eat, everything has been specified. So that has to be followed. But unfortunately today that is not there, because everybody is a Vyapari. So for them annam is a prashnam, not annam prashanam. Next is karna vedam, they said. Karna vedam. Now it is important, very important. Karna Veda done between 6th and 7th month. 6th or 7th month, when it is tender, when the skin is tender. In Karnam. Why only in Karnam? Ear, nose, throat, ENT. They are connected with the lungs, connected with the certain granthis of brain. And when Karna Vedam is done, 6th, 7th month, because it is soft as well as very tender, and the pain, the infant at that point of time will not bear so much of pain, because it will be healed very fast. Is one reason. Second is that is one reason. Second is that from the beginning of that till then, it was, as I told you, in 41 days till Nishkaramnam and things like that, he was under the protection of the parents, very taken care, not taking out, things like that. So not getting affected by the atmospheric changes that doesn't affect the lungs, heart and the sharira. Whereas after Nishkramanam, this is taking out, then it has to face the external climatical conditions, different climatical conditions, heat and cold and things like that. In order to have that, a proper function of the lungs are required. So, in order to make the lungs function properly, these are the pressure points for activating the lungs. That is why Karna Bhedam, when it is, the Karna Bhedam is done, and then an ear stud, ear ring or whatever is put, it keeps on touching that tissues inside with small tender tissues, activating the vibrational frequencies from there and keeping the lungs active. Is the medical reason why Karna Bhedam has to be done, and it is very necessary. That is why even today acupressure points, when you go there for lungs, they will do the pressure on the ear lobes, and things like that. They will pressure. Acupuncture, they will put that needle here in these areas for the lungs to activate the lungs because of this one. So so everybody has to put that during the time when in the childhood itself, when the lungs are prepared for taking care of that. While growing, automatically it is taken care. But it's always better to have it. That's why old people, even when they are grown old, even men, they used to have that, that earrings put on that. It is absolutely necessary. If one doesn't want to put the earring, can be done. Equivalent to Karna Bhedam is that each and every time, every day, 3, 4 times, 5 times, depending on requirement, you have to keep on massaging this, so that you get the same vibrations, the lungs will be active. That is why during the process of Vigneshwara's puja specifically, they hold the earlobes like this. This has less pressure. This you will leave it also while doing it. Why this should be done like this? Why not like this? One is that because of the left brain and the right brain activity. That is one reason. Second reason is that this one, it is very relaxed. You do not to give any pressure on that. Even just touching this, you can do like this, is it not? But when you hold it like this, see, automatically you have to pull it, you see. So to make you pull that, they made it, and they say, tuck by tuck, whatever it is, the punishment also in the schools that has been given. In order to activate your lungs, as well as your Kundalini is awakened, so that your brain is stabilized. High vibrational frequencies, because of that, the brain becomes absolutely calm. A person who commits a mistake, they are asked to do this, so that he realizes and the brain becomes perfectly alright. So Karna Bhedam is basically requirement of the lungs, and the process of the breathing and things are regulated during the process of the Karna Bhedam. So ritual, the Shodasha Samskara has included that for keeping the health properly, because Sthula Sharira has to be taken care. So Karna Bhedam is also one of that. Otherwise, there is no significance of Karna Bhedam, not based on the religion or things like that. Everybody, in fact, in our place, the Muslim ladies, not only here, like old days, from here to here, about 25 of them will be hanging around. Or with the silver rings, tick, tack, tick, tack, like that. Well, maybe that they want to, when they are shaking their head, they will know. When the sound comes, they will know, okay, that means she says no. To make some people, they don't speak much, so when they shake, this will clink, 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 clink. So they know that, oh, she's telling no. Maybe that is another reason, I don't know. Karna Bhedam is that. The ninth samskara is Chudakaranam. Chudakaranam is that Mundanam. In other words, it is Chudakaranam. Chudakaranam is Mundanam. Mundanam is that, what is the Mundanam? What is the significance of Mundanam? Why it should be done? It should be done between 6 months to 1 year. 1 year, they say, once it is completed, at least 1 year one should do. One has to do it. Why? Because Shuddhikaranam, they call it. Chudakaranam is Shuddhikaranam. What is Shuddhata? That means these are clearing from Janmas, the person who is carrying the malinyas with certain mantras is purified and then removed from the brain. They are small antennas actually, these are for the external brains. When the activation takes place for the cells in the brains, even these are very responsible. That is why the old days you will find in the near the Sahasra Chakra, this hair, even the men, they may shave off. Earlier, nobody used to shave off. They used to keep all the hair. Then afterwards, start to shave. Even if they shave off, some amount of hair is always kept here. It works as an antenna. Even though we jokingly say it an antenna, actually it works as an antenna. It functions, it has its own functions. Even for the cows here, the hair on this here, that gives a lot of importance. Even during the meditation, one of the process of meditation is that touching on this and then praying for that. That comes later, then we'll talk about it. So Chudakaranam means that Shuddhikarana, that representing that from Janmas, that one who is carrying the Papakarma Bharam, it is being cleaned, and when the first time they have to chant a particular mantra and then clean it, So is why it is being taken out. Even during sannyasa, sometimes it is done. During the process of the life, a person who is doing lot of karmas, all the karmas, in our ritual you see, hair removal is one thing. Somebody dies, you have to take off the hair. Sannyasa, you have to take off the hair. After Janma, 1 year, you have to take the hair off. Anybody dies in the house, they have to take the hair off. Things like that. So everywhere this one is there. The principle behind is that Papa karmas are through a chanting of mantras and then removing this. Papa karmas that has been carried from Janmas or from that Janma during the process of execution of karmas, this is being carried, is a representation. It's only a representation. What will happen if you don't take out? No, I don't think. Nothing may not happen. There's so many people who don't shave off. It's okay, it may not happen. But in the Shuddhigaranam, in the Mundanam, in 1 year it has to be done. After that, for other things, yes, it's a symbolical significance of a sannyasa, vairagya actually. When the hair is taken off, I take off my ahankara of keeping that in my head. So when somebody dies, his ahankara should be humbled and he has to be humbled. He has to be processing certain rituals like brahmachari. So in order to make him conscious about the brahmacharya, that he should not. So this significant, that symbolically the hair is removed. When the hair is removed, that his ahankara is removed, his his karma bhalas are removed. Even old days when somebody is punished in the Raja says that shave his head off and then ask him to go out of the boundary of the Rajya. That's what they say. They shave off the head. That means his karma, that he should be aware that his karmas are taken off from their karma balas are removed and then is taken off. So this significance is there throughout our life. It is there. They are basically meant for taking out the Shuddhikarana of the previous karmas and removal of the ahankara, and also having a status at that time as a brahmachari. His status at that point of time is that a vairagi is actually. He is not supposed to attend some of the functions. He should not go to the temple. He should not attend parties. He should not celebrating certain things. With these things. So this consciousness is meant for making him aware about the certain principles in life. That means his Thula Sharira cannot enjoy all those things at that point of time. He should be behaving like a sannyasi. He should be behaving like a vairagi, a brahmachari at that point of time. Is why symbolically it is shaven off. In sannyas also it is done. So Chudakarnam is that. Then comes Upanayanam. Upanayana. We have explained this, I think, earlier also. Upanayana. Nayana means the eyes. Upanayana, the literal meaning of Upanayana is that supporting to the eye, seeing. Upanayana. Supporting to seeing. Upanayana. It is done between 5 years to 8 years time. This is the time. What does it mean? Upanayanam is that in order to open his, we say that open his eyes. That means open eyes means what? Ready for acquiring jnanam, vidya. Is why Upanayanam, the name has been given to that. To make his eyes open. To make his eyes open is that Upanayanam. So in order to make his eyes open, he has to, in order to acquire, it's a great process. Great Shastra is there. It's symbolic, of course, even though it's symbolic, it is not necessary. The material thread is necessary, but mentally one should be conscious. But to make one conscious, because a child of 5 years to 8 years may not be knowing, so some material has to be put on his body so that he knows that he has got an Upanayanam, so he is ready for that. Maybe that. Otherwise, this material attachment, attraction has no meaning. As even in the Karna Bedam has to be done. Even you can put a wooden piece, also is okay, or a small thing. it is not necessary you have to wear. Then no, people have very cleverly has told, no. Oh, when you are getting married, 7 stones of diamond has to be there. Then only my Karnavedam is effective. These are all falsehood. No? Purpose is that only to create certain things. Initially, they put some small twig, some small stick inside that. Neem. Because neem is a medicine to heal. So, and the stick is there so that it doesn't close the holes. So, it has to be there. That's all. That is what is required. That is good enough. That neem, had it been there, how much of facilities would have been there now? But unfortunately, 7 stones, 14 stones, and 21. While dying, 21 stones has to be there. After that, because after that there is no chance. Of course, I am just jokingly said, but it is something like that, is it? Last time also, no, some people also say that don't remove this. Only after my death happens, then you take it. Till then, no, don't take it. Satisfaction. Upanayanam. Upanayanam is that making him conscious that he is a brahmachari. Upanayana, Nayana, opening the eyes. Then what is the significance of putting this thread around? That's called an Upanayana. It's a symbolic, as I told you. What else to do? Upanayana in order to keep the man conscious. Those days, that was the most simplified thing they could find out. They take a thread and then put it across. There are 3 lines normally put on that. No? 3 lines. Initially, the initial thread is 3 lines. First 1, then they make it 3 after. First 1 they will put, then after the chanting of the mantras and Gayatri and things like that, they will take it out and then put 3. And while putting 3, the 3 principles are there. He has to be, in order to have a brahmacharyatvam, what happened? These 3 gunas have to be taken out. Sato, Rajo and Tamo. He is above Sato, Rajo and Tamo gunas is the significance of 3. After the death, they put from right to left. When you do the rituals of the death, then it is right to left. That is because the left brain controls the right brain controls the left. Here in this case what happened, right brain is the spiritual brain, that which is creating jnanam. In order to acquire jnanam, it should be from the left to right. No? That gunas have to be taken out and brahmacharyatva has to be maintained. So he is a brahmachari. Who is a brahmachari? Brahmachari is only identification, the one who travels in the life only for the purpose of identification of Brahman inside me. Aham Brahmasmi. So for that, he is not supposed to have any of these 3 gunas. That's why 3 are there. The significance of Sato, Rajo and Tamo guna. No? And after the death, what happened? When he is doing a ritual, he is doing a ritual for a Sharira, not for the Atma. So for that, he will have to put from the right. He will take out this. At that time, he is not a brahmachari. He is a son who is doing a karma for the purpose of a Sharira of the father. He was a father at one point of time. He is a Sharira, but in order to have the respect towards that Sharira, whom we had respected all along, a proper farewell has to be provided to him. In order to give a proper farewell, this has to be in a different way. That at that time he is not a spiritual sannyasi or a brahmachari. He is a son. So a material. He has come down to the materialistic the rituals. So for that, when he does all these things, and those 7 days or 14 days or 15 days, whatever is over, again this is put back in a particular position and then chant Gayatri and make it all right. This is done. Even for after marriage also, if one gets married, so long he is a brahmachari, he will have only 3. The time he gets married, it will become 7. That means he is associated also with other materialistic way of living also, along with the trigunas, and the 7 are there. That total 7 will be there. 7 are those. That 7 has got a significance. That's why 7 pradikshina, and all those 7 are there. 7 times chanting, 7 times this one, 7 promises, and 7 like that. All those things are there. These promises are there, reminding him those promises that he has made around the Agni at the time of the Vivaha, is why this is converted into 7, making him conscious that you have always promised these 7. That's why this 7 is there. Otherwise, it always remains as 3. 3 is from Brahmacharya. So 3 in the Brahmacharya. So all are rituals. They are all rituals. Is it necessary? It is not necessary. If you are conscious mentally, this thread is not going to make any difference to your mind if your mind is not changed. Even after putting this, if you don't bother about it, and if you don't bother about the Brahmacharya in your mind, what is the significance of it? Nowadays that is the one. It has become just a ritual in order to identify absolutely a wrong thing. To identify him as that he has been born to a family called Brahmanas or Kshatriyas. Even Kshatriyas they also put. It's not the identification of that. Who is a Brahmana? Brahmasya Brahmana. Brahmavit. Brahmaiva Bhavati. The one who is a Brahmajnani, Brahmashatri, he is a Brahman. That's all. Nothing other than that. But then today's those practices are absolutely wrong, waste, and should be condemned. He is not eligible to be a Brahmachari who is doing that. No, he is doing Vyavasaya, he is doing something else, he is doing a lot of other things, and claims as a Brahmana. Brahmasya Brahmana. It should be his job should be only teaching and learning. That's all. And Brahma Shastram. That too, Vedas and Vedantas, not anything, not mathematics. Okay. So that should be the principle. So, Upanayanam, in order to awaken him, in order to make his eyes open means awaken him towards the readiness of to acquiring the knowledge. So he is ready between 5 years to 8 years. He is ready after Upanayana, and he is ready to be a Brahmachari. Now all this child's play is over. Infancy is finished. Now you are ready as a Brahmachari. You have to take care of the responsibility of a Shishya, not a student. A Shishyatvam has to be taken care, not student of a particular subject. Shishyatvam is that the Guru decides the Shishya, how the Shishya has to be brought up. Student will then, that means the one who is a student, what we call as a student, is the one who decides what should I study. A student decides what he should study. A Shishya, Guru decides what Shishya has to study. The difference. In Gurukula, he decides what is his capability and how he has to be brought up and what are the education, what are the things that is necessary for him. He directing him through that path. Somebody is slow, somebody is fast, somebody is good at certain things, somebody is bad at certain things. So depending upon that, like you will find in Mahabharata, Bhima was, even though they all studied everything, all the archery, and he has been specialized for Gadayuddha. Yudhishthira has been specialized for that, what do you call javelin? We call it a javelin. that arrow, what is that? Spear. Okay, spear. And Arjuna is specialized for, even though he also can handle the Gadayuddha, but he is specialized for this. But one is that general studies, common studies, general studies, like we have got the same system has been followed now also. Up to class 10 you have to study all the subjects. Then you can go for specialization. Same thing happened earlier also. This was copied from there only. Earlier also, initial 1 or 2 years, they will be taught all those things. And then they specialize it. Whoever is catching up faster, they will be given more responsibilities. Is why in the Upanayana, that means his readiness is shown. And in Upanayana, that he is making him conscious that, look, you are a Brahmachari from now onwards and you are to go for the Shishyatva in the Gurukula. He will decide what you should do. You may be a Raja. There are 4, 5 sons of Raja. Who should be learning? That Guru will decide. Because he knows how to take care of them depending upon their past karma. Guru is not just astronomically, just deciding, okay, you study mathematics, you study this. No. He, being a jnani, gurus are like that. Those who are jnanis and brahmajnanis, he has got that vision, inner vision of that everything. He knows everything about that student, his previous life, future life, everything. And he looks at that and he knows that what he is supposed to be and what he is supposed to complete here. Depending upon that, he teaches him to go into that path, who will take what and things like that. So there will be differences there. So that is why Upanayanam is that the one readiness of acquiring the knowledge. That means to be a brahmachari, making you conscious, so long it is there, you are conscious that yes, I am a brahmachari. That to make you conscious, this symbolically this has been identified, and others also will know he is a brahmachari. That's all. And plus he himself, mostly he himself to be aware of the brahmacharya. Without this also it can be done. There is nothing wrong. But this was provided. So like we are praying in the temple or to the puja room, is it necessary? It is not necessary. But since we have to have a medium in order to understand, so we do that the same way. Upanayanam has been put. Upanayana means not this thread. Let us not misunderstand. Thread is symbolically provided for making him conscious that you are ready for Upanayanam. That means you are ready for waking up. That's it. Uttishta Jagrata. In order to have Jagrata, that Uttishta has to be there. That Uttishto Jagrata. To make him conscious of Uttishtato Jagrata, this is just two names. Even if you take it out, if you are conscious, that is good to know. You are a Brahmana, no doubt about it. Okay, so this is called, what is that? Upanayanam. Jagrata. Next is Vidyanambam. After the Upanayanam, then Vidyanambam. Vidyanambam or Veda Arambam is that. Originally, the name was Veda Arambam. Then it became Vidyarambam. This is done at 8 years to 12 years. After the Brahmacharya. Those days it used to be like that, because like today, play school, nursery school, 2 years, 3 years, they are not ready to go to Gurukula. They have to be little grown up so that they have to make him understand. By 8 years and all that, the child is okay, can make him understand. So that's why it is provided as 8 years. Maximum, he says that even if by any cause it is delayed, it should be 12 years, not more than that. That means before he reaches his teen, he should be a student, Shishya. So 8 years to 12 years. This is according to old days. But 8 years, that's why Upanayanam is done between 5 to 8 years. So 8 years means he is ready. So from 8 years, anytime, before 12 years, it should be done. After 12 years, he is not eligible for that. Because there are so many other things, development of brain, attention and things like that. And then, well, it can be done. It is not that, can it not be done? It can be done. It's not that at any age one can do it. But earlier, what happens when you are inducted in, the importance and the studies and then growth and then the path that has been chosen is firm by that. In his childhood itself, you have to put them into a stream of that. That's why it is necessary. Today we do it earlier. Well, from time to time, these things changes. Nothing wrong. I won't say it is wrong. It is absolutely okay. Those days, this was the system. So that's why it is known as, the years have been mentioned here. Vidya Arambam. Vidya Arambam or Veda Arambam. With. Veda comes from the with. Vidya. Knowledge. Acquiring the knowledge. Vidya. Vidya is also. Practicing the Vidya is with. Learning the Vidya. Learning the Veda. Practicing the Veda is also Vidya. That also can be done. So, Arambam of that. Once it is done, then they are sent to Gurukula, and in Gurukula he becomes a Shishya, not a student. As a Shishya, he is supposed to undergo all the teachings of life, like starting from how to get up in the morning, and after getting up in the morning, what is to be done? First thing, what is to be done? What are the other rituals has to be done? How to bathe, how to pray, how to do. Each and every small thing is learnt from the Guru. They are all done by the observance of the Guru. There are various methods they are provided. The education system is beautiful. Very free education system. Like Japanese follow some of those things now. Not like our school restricted movements. There it is freedom. Early morning itself, at what time one should get up, and after getting up, what are things to be done? These have to be done by the initiative of the Shishya. And then along with the Guru, he also does it. So looking at the Guru, what all things to be done, he learns it. He is not teaching. After getting up, you do this, you do this, you do this. No. Just observe what is being done. He observes and he chants, he goes with him to bathe. And he cleans himself, he comes back and then this. Then do the yajna and then yajna kunda and then how to eat and what to eat, what time to eat. Not any time you like, not that. So everything, all the rituals, including eating, starting from that, then they have the classes where the theory part of it is learned. After the theory, for some time, 1 year or 2 years, practicals are done. During practicals, yajna is done, meditation is done, tapasya is done. Then, depending upon the capability of the tapasya of each individual, he takes him above and shows him the real truth of the Dharma. Last, when everything is over, the last teaching is that opening his inner self, the Sahasrara Chakra, towards the Brahma Jnanam, to the Brahma Darshanam. And that's the last. That is what a Guru can do. He shows the Brahma Darshanam to the Shishya. Lord Krishna, when finally everything was over, Sandipani Maharshi, and he says that when you read the story, you will find this. The last, he is telling Lord Bhagavan that, hey Bhagavan, I am giving you my last Vidya to you today. Then he touches him and then shows him the Brahma Darshanam. So he sees himself, Vishnu and all that. Then Guru prays to him, actually. He does the folded hands because he is Bhagavan himself. This revelation is the final thing that he does. He shows him the Brahma Darshanam. After that, the Vidya is over. After the Vidya is over, he comes back. Now he is at his choice, depending upon each one's capabilities. Either he becomes a sannyasi, joins the ashram with him, he becomes his assistant and he is trained for becoming a guru. Or he comes back to the home or to the palace. If he is a Raja, he takes care of the responsibilities. If he is somebody else, something else has to be done. If he is a Brahmana, he starts teaching and learning and teaching others. Like that. All those professions, they choose according to their capabilities. This returning back and taking care of his own life is called Samavartanam, is called the 12th samskara. Samavartanam, that means whatever has been learnt in order to do the concising them, Samavartanam. Practicing them, that what has been learnt should be practicing this. So some of them, they return and then from the Brahmacharya to many of them, they go into the normal life. He become a researcher, he become like Madhavacharya, like other acharyas who have invented many other things. They become scholars, they become researchers, many of them researchers. Many of them become sannyasis, Brahma Sakshatkaris. Many of them become Brahmanas teaching others, Vedas, things like that. So many divisions have. It's like that you can find many of the rishis have become. So that's how we are benefited today, that many have become mathematicians like many other people like Panini, grammar. Grammar has been done by the Panini. He is learned, and Panini has all the grammars have been done by him only. And then the banking, how it is to be done. Chanakya has done, how the Chanakya Niti has done, and then Madhavacharya and the other acharyas have done about the mathematics and inventions and many other things. They are about the flying aeroplanes and this, that. Many inventions have been done by this Vidya. By the same Vidya, each one has taken his own profession and started developing based on those disciplines. So you see how much in that 16 years time, how much they have learned. That means whatever they have learned, they are utilizing them in order to do that. That in order to do research and then do that result of it, he has not taught him. But he has taught him in the ashrama that this is the way this can be done. These are the mantras to be chanted in order to develop a diamond or develop this one, the capacity to create a machine or which can function or which can do paragaya, pravesham, how it can be done, how sannyasa has to be done. All the principles and mantras and paths and preparations all have been provided to him. Notes have been provided to him. Now, he has to only just go through that and then do it. That's all. Executing that is called as samavartanam. Sametna, samavartanam. That's from there only sametna is come. Samavartanam. Depending upon his requirement, he recalls all that and utilizing that vidya is called samavartanam, to come back, to return back to that life. That is why I always said that as Brahmachari is the one who is eligible to lead a sansarik jivan. He only knows how to live. How to live, I put a question in there. We love to live. I put 3 questions and ultimately I myself have answered that. So you can read that. So how to live, who, how and what is the purpose of life? How to manage the life? Are we really managing the life? Who, the one who knows the management only can manage the life. The one who wants to manage, then only he can manage. First of all, he has to know what is life and what should I manage. What should I manage? We end up managing unwanted things, and wanted things are managed by somebody else. Is it not? All necessary and right things, you think about your life, are managed by somebody else. And the right things, what is to be managed, the wrong things, what is to be managed. Instead of annam, I will have puchka, that will be decided by me, managed by me. I have to do tapasya. That Guruji, you are, go and ask him, he knows. I'm just joking, of course. This is the disparities. Samavartanam is meant for whatever has been learned. Why are we learning? This assimilating and then utilizing, imposing it in our life. When you do put that practice into the practice of your life, ultimately you achieve that what is necessary. And what is the purpose of life? What is life? The life is nothing but why are we living? Only for the purpose of liberation. Even though I have written there, happy and peace. Yes, happiness and peace. When it comes, automatically it goes into the liberation. Happiness has come, peace has come. Then what is next? Liberation from the life. That's all. Like yesterday I told you, the other day I told you in the class, when you have jnanam, what comes next? Vairagya. Jnana vairagya siddhyartham. Like that. Samavartanam. After Samavartanam, this we all have done. 13th one, Vivaham. Okay. Vivaha is also a wonderful karma, no doubt about it. Not like what generally thought. Vivaha is necessary for a person who is wanting to experience the life. Experiencing the life and experiencing karmas and karma phalas to be executed in the right manner, he has to have a vivaha. Vivaha is that protecting, understanding and realization. Also, it is necessary, is responsibility, the human being's responsibility, as we told about the Garbhadanam, it is necessary for him to contribute to the world in order to develop. So, he has to give children who are supposed to be the great men who will lead, like many acharyas, like Shankaracharya, Madhavacharya, in Dvaita Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, they are all born to the mother out of Vivaha only, they are all born. The great personalities are born only out of Vivaha. You know? Brahmaputra, I mean, the ones, Manasaputras are only very few. Manasaputras are Manu. Manasaputras are those 9 saint Prajapatis, starting from, we told that, from Marichi, starting from the, Marichi is the first one. First Prajapati who said Manasaputra. Marichi, along with the following 8 Maharshis, they became the Prajapatis. They are Prajapatis. From them only all the Prajas have come. It's why Prajapati. So your what do you call it? Gotra will be one of these 9. Starting from Marichi. All one of the 9 will be that. That means descendant of all the human beings are descendant of these 9 who are the Manasaputras of Brahma. That's what they say. So Vivaham is necessary in order to have the Vaivahika Jivan. That means, first of all, the ritual is that, the purpose of Vivaha is meant for, first of all, in order to learn patience, in order to learn giving and taking, first of all, taking care of somebody, taking care of the responsibilities, taking care of, a sannyasi doesn't know how to take care of the other individuals in Bhautika Jivan as well as in the Adhyatma Jivan. It's not only the materialistic way of living, in the sannyas, in the Adhyatmic Jivan also, how to lead each other. That's why there are it's a big chapter which I don't want to go for 3 days. 7 out of 7 parikrama, 3 the male will lead and the other 3 female will lead, and then the one is common. One is for the Shreyas, another 3 is for the Prayas. One is Shreyas, one is Prayas. Ultimately, Prayas merging into the Shreyas. The male leads for the Shreyas, the female leads for the Prayas. Prayas is that. What is Prayas and Shreyas? Shreyas is that uplifting and taking, ultimately taking nirvana and then or liberation and attaining the Brahman. So all the activities of such will be taken care by for the purpose of development of the family, for the development and good well-keeping and protection, and many other things should be done by the leadership of the man, is why the Shreyas is done by the man. So in that case what happens? He is on. That's why I said Brahmachari is the ideal person for that. He knows what to do in the life and how the life has to be led. So the lady who comes for him, he knows how to lead that lady. So he leads the Bhuta along with him, for the purpose of the Shreyas. That means it also indicates it is done first. First it is to be done like that, according to I think so. No, I don't know what is the ritual they do. Is the lady first or the man first? It should be the man, according to the Shastras. Man should be the first. He indicates that the whole purpose of our life, I am going around the Agni, promising that I will lead the person who is following me to Shreyas, is the promise he is making. So the Agni. I will lead the third person following me to Shreyas is the promise that is done to the Agni. Agni is the one which we know why the promise is done for Agni. Everything is taken care of by the Agni. nothing is left as a residue. So he takes care. So Agni Sakshi is the most purified form of Sakshi Bhava. That's why Agni Sakshi. I will lead that. Then, since he is a brahmachari, his attention is mostly on the Shreyas. In the prayers, even though he is he should be accommodated, he is a part of it, he is a partner of the prayers also. Because in a Vaivahika Jivan, there has to be a materialistic life. That means Bhautika Jivan is also involved. They have to have a lot of Bhautika activities. For the Bhautika activities, I will lead you to the, since you do not know about the Bhautika activities, the Kanya will take care of the prayers, is why the next 3 rounds are taken by the Kanya. From where the Kanya knows, that is why during the Kanya status, the parents will teach the Kanya what are the things to be done in a Grihastha. There no meditation is not taught, no mantras are not taught. What are the things to be done in a Grihastha? How it should be taken care, how the pati should be taken care, how the father should be taken care, how the house should be taken care. All this jnanam, how to control the house, how to bring the children up, how to make them good characters, how to make them, worthwhile in this world for the purpose of being an important person in the life, not just like living like an animal. You are supposed to be contributing to that, like acharyas and things like that. So these teachings, the Kanya stage, during the Kanya stage, what happens? Normally, every house used to have the gurus at that point of time. So when the guru comes, guru teaches the Kanya. And Kanya also is supposed to do certain mantras, certain chantings, certain tapasya. They also teach meditation and other things for the purpose of the lady, for the gaining the strength in order to carry the prayers. The Bhautika Jivan has to be taken by the responsibility of the lady. That's why prayers is taken care by the, I will lead you to prayers is what the lady says to the man. I am leading you for the prayers. That means the prayers karmas will have to be done by under the guidance of me. The Shreyas, this one has to be done by the guidance of you, leadership of you. Is why this promise is made to that Shreyas and prayers. So Vivaha is meant for that, in order to learn contribution, learn to have, one learns about the Tyaga, one learns about the Tyaga, one learns about the Dharma, one learns about what is the Dharma, Vivaha Dharma, what is that, 8 individuals. How to maintain peace even during the process of Bhautika Jivan, because Bhautika Jivan, lot of materialistic requirements and materialistic activities are there. In that case, how the balance has to be maintained, how the peace has to be maintained, both that. Something should not become excess in that, no. Then it should be out of place. So at the right point of time, the materialism has to be given importance. Somewhere the Bhautika Jivan has to be importance, where it is necessary. Then Dana, Dharma, Karmas, all that has to be done by the man. That means he has to earn and do the Dana, Dharma, Karmas, and also will maintain the peace between the two, Bhautika as well as the Adhyatmika, maintaining the peace so that nothing goes out of the track. In order to maintain that of course the Stri also has to be taking care about the Bhautika Jivan so that it doesn't go out of tracks. So Bhautika Jivan should be supportive to the Adhyatmika Jivan. And Adhyatmika Jivan to protect you. Remember this difference. Bhautika Jivan should be supportive to the Adhyatmika Jivan. Adhyatmika Jivan should be protective to the Bhautika Jivan. This difference is there. So when that is done, automatically what happens? There are no mistakes, absolutely perfect. It goes in the track. Whereas intrusion happens only when the other way it takes place. So in order to have that knowledge, in order to learn that, even though the brahmachari has learned it from the Gurukula about the Bhautika Jivan, how Bhautika contribution of that teachings should be applied, how he can apply that, He has to lead the Bhautika Jivan. So when he is leading the Bhautika Jivan, the importance is that there has to be a partner, there has to be a Bharya, they said. Bharta, they said. And Bharya, the one who is leading, the one who is led. And also that according to that led is because the spiritual support is absolutely necessary for the Bhautika. And then the house, when it is run depending upon small requirements and materialistic way of things, has to be taken care by the lady in the house, so that it doesn't intrude or it doesn't create confusion in the spiritual progress of the totality. Even when the son is born or child is born, they have to be made aware about the purpose of life, purpose of spirituality in life, and why we are born, what is the purpose of it. For that, a great support of leading of Shreyas is absolutely necessary. In prayers, how to lead our life in the Bhautika Jivan so long we are in the world, how to do it with the restriction of necessities like brahmacharyatam, restrictions. There are so many restrictions are there now. How the character building has to be done, what is called the dharmam, and how the dharmam has to be followed. Everything has to be taught by the mother in order to make him perfect in that. Then accordingly, other things we have already told, how the child grows then after that. So in the Vivaha is very important. Vivaha is a contribution of the Shreyas and prayers by both, equally taking the responsibility. There are so many women sannyasinis are there, more than 64 sannyasinis according to our Hindu Shastras, it is there. And they are all there. They have taken sannyasa after the Grihastha-ashrama or before the Grihastha-ashrama. Gargi is there. Gargi has taken sannyasa-ashrama before the Grihastha-ashrama. She was not interested in Grihastha-ashrama. Some of them have taken sannyasa after the Grihastha-ashrama, having learned it. Then learned the brahmacharyatam, then learned it. So this could be done, but very few. But the others are responsible. Why? Because few. And others, the mother is responsible for building this world, actually. The mother is responsible for bringing up the children. Otherwise, it will all become habits, that there will not be any importance. So there has to be a great importance for that. The teachings have to be, so the lady, during the process of the Kanya living with the parents, the Guru, when it comes, she learns about the dharmam, she learns about the karma, she learns about the discipline, she learns about the importance of the Bhautika Jivan connected with the spirituality or connected with the Adhyatma Jivan, and how this balance has to be maintained is why Gandhari took blindness, because that she felt she is responsible to be following her husband, so she took blindness so that whatever he sees only I should be seeing. But during the process of this, what happened, Gandhari have acquired the tapobhala in her. Great tapobhala she has acquired. That's why she could do the blessing to Duryodhana at a point of time where Krishna came and laughed at it and things like that. So she could curse, she could even Gandhari is the one who cursed the Lord Krishna, that your Yadav Kula will get destroyed like this. She could do that. She is very powerful on that. So this Shakti is also there. Shakti is there. But Shakti and Yukti is taken care by the woman in that. Shakti and Yukti is taken care by the woman in the Bhautika Jivan, and Shreyas and the liberation or the Kaivalya is taken care by the man. So in order to make the Shakti and Yukti to function, through the Adhyatma process, according to Dharmam, according to Jnanam, according to spirituality, he has to earn that and provide for the Bhautika Jivan to progress. When he earns spirituality, through spirituality, through the principles of the Dharmam and the Brahmajnanam, Brahmatattvam and the Vedajnanam, he earns that whatever necessary for the house, and that is being used for the purpose of the Bhautika Jivan. The Bhautika Jivan is automatically converted into the Adhyatmika Jivan, because the karma bhala of the bhautika adhyatmic jivan is that what he is providing the house. Is the story goes to, when I remind you, that Ratnakar, when he was a thief, and when Narada went and told him that, asked him that, does your family, does your wife, Bharya, and the Pita and Patni take the responsibility of the papas, karmas that you are doing, are they a share of it? He said, I do not know, let me go and ask. So the lady of the house says that, my karma is that whatever you have provided to me, with that I will utilize the prayers and grow the house. So if it is because of the bad karma bhala that you are bringing, and I will use that, automatically the other things also will be bad. So how can I take care of it? It is your job to provide. So he has to, then he became conscious, became a sannyasi. Same way, Rishi Vishrava, even though he is a Rishi, and he has got great tapobhala, and he is also great sannyasi, and he has never done any mistakes, and he is absolutely a Brahmajnani, and he, being the Pita of the Ravana, what happened? As I told you about the, both have to be taking care. You remember that in our previous class, Jatakarma, when we said about that. So what happened here? What happened? Even though the seed was okay, even though he was a jnani, but the growth has been given by the Asura lady. She's an Asura. So in the Asura it has been. So the implication of the external karma, that means the Bhautika Jivan or the Bhutas, the Bhautika is been applied from the from the characteristics of the Asurigata, whereas his reality, Atma's capability is from the spirituality. You got my point. So two opposite diversities of that example has been provided by Ratnagar. This is Ravana. Is the importance of the seed, is the importance of that. So if both are responsible for same thing, one is following the Bhautika Jivan as per the Guru has been advised, and following the principles of the rituals and the discipline, especially discipline. That means she also has to get liberation. He also has to get liberation. She gets liberation through the karma and the jnana marga, and he gets liberation through jnana and karma marga. Through jnanam he does the karma. Here the lady gains the karma, and then she gains the jnanam. That's why I said karma, jnana, jnana, karma. Through jnanam, through Brahma jnanam, he acquires the material that absolutely necessary for the house to be provided, and he provides it, and then the bhutas, that is energized by the, let me call it as energized, by the adhyatmika practices, so automatically the bhutas are transmitted and transferred and transformed into spirituality, is how this is taken care. That is the importance of the vivaha. Taking care of that is how beautiful it is, how sacred it is. It's not a fun. It is sacred. Each individual has to find out their responsibility. Each individual has to contribute for that responsibility. Once that is done, it is Shreyas. Ultimate result is Shreyas. That's all. That Shreyas has to be brought. So this understanding has to be there. Unless it is there, Vivaha will not be a Vivaha. Vivaha will become Vyavahara. What is Vyavahara? Actually, you take the Vyavahara. Next class we will explain the other things. There are three more Shodash Samskara, 13 Shodash Samskara. Another 3 are there. I am going in detail because many of places I don't find these details are not provided to people. At least one should know this is that, so that we can contribute it to others. You have listened, now you have recorded it in the right manner. You can explain to those who are required by that. You can tell them that, look, this is actually, according to Shastras, I have mentioned that for the benefit of the humanity, and this is how that everywhere there can be peace and happiness. That's why I told today in that one, that ultimate aim of life is that happiness and peace. In Bhautika Jivan, happiness and peace. Once the happiness and peace is attained, after peace what? Then liberation. Kaivalya. That's all. Spirituality. Then after peace, after you gain absolute peace, Brahman will appear. That's Brahma Sakshatkara. The one who has got absolute peace is what? No agitation, status. This I have been repeating for 30 years. No agitative status. Status of mind. Non-agitative status of mind I have been repeating. When you reach that, Brahma Sakshatkara. Finished. Layam takes place at that time. Is why this has to be understood. Okay? Om Shanti. Rest will do. 3 are there, not much. We will finish it faster.